Okay, good morning or good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jessica Melman. I'm the Chief Planning Officer at Jewish Federation of Greater Metro West, and it is my pleasure to welcome everybody to this webinar this afternoon with the Jewish Community Foundation and Jewish Federation of Greater Metro West. Before we begin, I do want to just make mention that today is Tisha B'Av, a mournful day on the Jewish calendar, marking the destruction of the First and Second Temple periods. For those observing, we wish you an easy fast on this day. I first want to let everyone know who our speakers this afternoon are going to be. Linda Press, the Executive Director of Jewish Services for the Developmentally Disabled. Beth Mitchell, Director of Inclusion and Diversity at the JCC of Central New Jersey. Audrey Winkler, Executive Director at Jesby House. And Rabbi Zalman Grossbaum, CEO of Friendship Circle. Greater Metro West ABLE, which stands for Access, Belonging, and Life Enrichment for People with Disabilities and Their Families, is a program of the Jewish Federation of Greater Metro West, New Jersey. Established in 2005, this network of community, professional, and volunteer leaders support and advocate for individuals with disabilities and their families. Greater Metro West ABLE engages families, synagogues, and agencies in the Greater Metro West community to create a Jewish community that is accessible to everyone. We envision a Jewish community made whole through the meaningful participation of all of its members with opportunities for access to every aspect of Jewish life. Through ABLE, Federation serves all 5 counties in Greater Metro West, including more than 70 congregations, and is actively engaged with over 400 families in the community. Throughout the current crisis, Jewish Federation has been focused on helping to ensure that all of our agencies are able to meet the basic needs of the members and clients they serve. For agencies who work with individuals with disabilities and their families, some of whom you will hear from today, being able to continue to serve clients meant overcoming significant hurdles. Day programs of all kinds were no longer possible due to health risks, and where our community centers immediately began providing virtual programming for seniors and families with typical children, it can be difficult for individuals with disabilities to fully engage virtually. Agencies that offer residential services were faced with the need to provide 24-hour healthcare staffing in the current environment. Many of our partners receive large portions of their income through state disability funding, which for some programs has been cut significantly over the past several months and will likely be cut again in the coming weeks as the state of New Jersey struggles with overall budget deficits. In addition to providing direct funding for emergency needs in our community, Federation's Community Relations Committee has been at the advocacy forefront at both the state and federal levels to help ensure that our agencies continue to receive the funding they require to meet the needs of this vulnerable population. Before I introduce our first speaker, it is important to note that while the current crisis has caused significant financial and programmatic stress to our partner agencies, it's also been the catalyst for wonderful innovation and collaboration across the community. Of course, our agency partners can tell this story from a very personal perspective, so without further ado, it is my pleasure to call on Linda Press, Executive Director of JSTD. Linda?
Thanks, Jessica, and thank you to the Foundation for inviting us to participate today. For those of you who don't know anything about JSTD, Jewish Service for the Developmentally Disabled, we were established in 1996 as an independent agency, and we evolved actually as from a committee of Federation established in the mid-1980s in response to a community survey, which I believe Federation is in the middle of conducting right now once again. One of the questions on the survey was directed specifically to families of individuals with special needs. And the question was, what is your most pressing concern for your family? And overwhelmingly, the response was, what will happen to my adult child when I am no longer able to? So in response to that, excuse me, in 1989, a commission was formed and the first kosher group home in Metro West was established in Millburn. And it still exists today. It was originally a co-ed home for 6 people. It is still co-ed, but we have 5 people living in that home today. And and then again, like as I said, we established as an independent agency when the committee determined they wanted to expand our services. And today we operate 12 different residences, serve it with the capacity to serve 43 people in 9 towns in Essex and Morris County. In 2004, in response to some of our residents' desire to have more meaningful activity in their lives, we partnered with the Healthcare Foundation of New Jersey. They provided us with a grant to establish the WAE Center. WAE stands for Wellness, Arts, and Enrichment. And we have a census right now of 60 people at the center. Of course, we closed our doors on March 12th and have been doing virtual programming. Many of our residents participate at the WAE Center, but not all of them. And then we have individuals who live in other provider agency homes, as well as in their families' homes who participate at the WAE Center. The WAE Center and our residential programs really operate under the philosophy that everyone has ability and the capacity to learn and grow and develop interests and hobbies and meaningful activity. So we support people to control their own destinies and to understand what's available to them. During the past several months, we've had to shift. Now, if you can imagine what life was like in your own home initially and with your own family, multiply that by 12 homes with 40 individuals with developmental disabilities and 150 employees and the families of those 40 people, and how difficult it was for you to get protective equipment for face masks, gloves, soap, paper towels, any of those things. We were scrambling to do that. So that has really been our biggest challenge. Simultaneously, we redeployed many of our staff during the first, the initial weeks of the COVID outbreak, and we redeployed them from our day hab program from the WAE Center into our residential programs. We have maintained full employment this whole time. No one has been furloughed. We had some people working remotely from home, our WAE Center administrative staff and facilitators, and they snapped into action and started to develop ways to connect with families. They were connecting with our families and our residences from the very beginning. What do you need? How can we help? And then began to develop a curriculum for virtual programming. We have a new program called Way to Connect. It was funded initially with emergency funds, again, from our wonderful partner, the Healthcare Foundation. And so we've been able to reach out to all of our members on a regular basis. Many are participating virtually. What you see up on your screen are some of our virtual classes in progress. We have provided our participants with the supplies they need, with technology if they need it, with the training, and it's been an interesting and really energizing experience for everyone. We're connecting in very different ways, and it's presented us with opportunities to do new things and to be creative. So our staff has really stepped up. The level of stress in our homes, though, initially, as you can imagine, we fared pretty well in terms of health of our residents and our staff, but it was a very stressful time and for everyone. We're sort of adjusting to a new normal. We don't expect that that day program will open up anytime soon, and we will continue to provide virtual programming for the foreseeable future. And when we do open up, it'll be a hybrid of sorts. So perhaps some in person, but not at the capacity as the capacity that we had previously. Just one more thing, Jessica, because I see you're going to tell me I'm out of time. But through all of this, we've had a wonderful thing happen. We're in the middle of it. Have been in the process of a capital campaign for the past 3 years. We started construction on a new building on Eisenhower Parkway, where we will be able to welcome people back. It will give us 10,000 additional square feet, and we'll be able to increase our capacity at that time, while at the same time continuing to provide virtual programming to people who may be homebound for a variety of reasons. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Linda. For our next panelist, it is my pleasure to call on Beth Mitchell, Director of Inclusion and Diversity at the JCC of Central New Jersey.
Thank you, Jessica, for the introduction, and thank you to the Jewish Community Foundation for extending this opportunity to be a part of this really important discussion. This story is unique in that I was hired full-time as Director of Inclusion and Diversity at the JCC on March 2nd, at the beginning of a pandemic. And like so many current innovations, the Department of Inclusion and Support Services was created from my dining room table, guided by an agency-wide goal of expanding inclusive programming. Due to the pandemic, there have been many changes to our best laid plans, but we are incredibly thankful that some of our largest inclusion programs are still up and running despite their reduced capacity. Our Camp Yachad Shadow program, which provides one-to-one support to campers with special needs, is up and running, and we have lots of happy campers. Our incredible aquatics department continues to offer swim lessons that can be modified to meet the needs of any swimmer. Our early childhood and after-school programs are set to open, and we will continue to support children with special needs through our HESED committee, which provides individualized classroom supports. Unfortunately, there has been a delayed rollout of new on-site programming for teens and young adults with disabilities. When it is deemed safe and comfortable for this population to return to campus, we plan on offering robust after-school programming focused on developing social opportunities and offering recreational activities. We are also hoping and committed to offering weekend socials for young adults to provide social opportunities as they age out of our after-school programs. In addition, we have needed to pause several existing programs to maintain the safety of our most vulnerable populations. Typically, we offer 2 adaptive fitness classes to increase movement and strength for people with Parkinson's disease, as well as a cancer training, recovery, and fitness class. Due to the safety concerns, we are unable to offer these fitness classes at this time and hope to be able to offer them in the future. Due to our currently limited visitor policy, we are also unable to continue to host our outside organizations that use our facility for adaptive recreation, like the Mighty Ducks, which is a swim team for children with special needs, which is a part of the Special Olympics. We are also unable to provide our vocational training opportunities to high schoolers with special needs. They come to our campus and practice their pre-employment skills with their job coaches in preparation for gainful employment. Next slide, please. Thank you. Camp Yachad is our largest inclusion program, and typically we serve children ages 2 up through young adulthood. In a typical year, the skills training program provides teens and young adults with mentorship through one-to-one vocational coaching. This is actually a paid position, and we usually support about 10 young adults mentored by specialists. After much discussion, we heartbreakingly had to decide not to run this program this summer because of the changes of our specialists. Due to COVID-19, our specialists are really focused less on running activities like Gaga or basketball, and their primary role has become the sanitization of equipment and materials. Socialization is challenging due to social distancing requirements and required PPE. But thankfully, our shadow program is up and running and in its 22nd year. In a typical summer, we host between 25 to 30 campers, and this summer we are thrilled to be having 7 campers join us. I am pleased to report that our shadow program campers are having an incredible summer at Camp Yachad. Despite the challenges that we are facing as an organization, there are some silver linings. We have been able to utilize our remote working time to offer staff training and support sessions through the Zoom platform. We have also taken the opportunity to provide and reimagine support services and programming. We are working through ways to extend to our community our programming through technology, but we are not out of the woods yet. There are still many challenges that lay ahead for our JCC and specifically for my department. Some of those challenges are creating safe and comfortable programming for high-risk populations who do struggle with virtual learning and engagement. How do we build engagement for a brand new department at a time when everyone is zoomed out and inundated with emails? We have unfortunately recently furloughed several staff and are working at a significant pay cut across the board from the top down. This is a concern because we need to attract skilled and capable staff to work with our folks with disabilities. And it is a concern about having the financial capability to provide competitive pay at this time. So despite these very real organizational and financial challenges, we will move forward. We will continue to further our mission of providing inclusive programming to our most vulnerable populations, especially at this time when they need engagement the most. So thank you for your time.
Beth, thank you so very much. It is my pleasure to call on our next panelist, Audrey Winkler, Executive Director of Jesby House. Audrey, you need to unmute yourself.
Thank you for having us. We're so thankful for the support we've received from Federation during this challenging time. Jesby House is an organization that serves over 260 clients with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Our mission is to advance independence for our clients. We've built a community around acceptance, camaraderie, and companionship. We describe our program as a whole life program where we provide residential homes, day program, social wellness and expressive arts, clinical and behavioral health, work readiness and employment engagement, athletics, fitness, case management, and daily living skills training. Our community is made up of those that live in independent apartments, those that live with family, and those that live in our shared houses. When the shutdown of on-site services as a result of the pandemic hit us in mid-March, Jesby worked quickly to provide our clients with the connection and communication they needed. Within days, we retooled all of our programs to provide them in a virtual environment. In addition, for those clients that were not able to return to their families, we consolidated our shared houses and continued to care for our clients remaining in South Orange. One of our biggest challenges was in the area of day program fitness, social wellness, and expressive arts. We're delivering interesting educational and interactive programs and activities to keep our clients focused and active and to allow them to feel connected and taken care of. Some recent online activities which were very popular included studio arts, sketchbook sessions, cooking groups, meditation, yoga, cardio live, Zumba, skills groups. like relationships and money. We also offer puzzles and trivia type groups. We continue to provide over 125 activities each week, 7 days a week. The reason for exploring and developing many programs and platforms on this virtual environment was because our clients have differing abilities in accessing different platforms. We're using WebEx, Skype, Zoom, Facebook Live, Facebook Room, and more. All platforms are moderated groups to protect the privacy and safety of our clients. We took our on-site offerings and thought about, how do we do this online? How do you teach knitting if you're not sitting next to somebody? How can you have a party when all you see are boxes with faces on the screen? So in our new now, we had to adjust and make it engaging, educational, and entertaining. We emphasize movement and fitness to stay active. We promote learning with our science projects, spelling bees, geography, current events, and music appreciation. We do virtual travel and cook local foods. We have sports chats, and we even have a cat cam. Our second biggest challenge we encountered was in the employment area. We're supporting more than 70% of our clients in the employment and vocational training area. One of the keys to independence is, of course, employment. Work readiness and employment engagement continues. Our team continues to provide training and skill building services to our clients, to prepare them for the new workforce. We are in contact with employers about clients who are working remotely now, those who are still working on site, and those who are concerned about retaining employment post-pandemic if they have been furloughed. We're also helping clients who have lost their jobs to file for unemployment benefits. This pandemic has impacted our clients in the workforce in many, many ways. 1/3 of our clients worked through the first 4 months of the pandemic. We have clients like Mark who continued working, and we really had to put together a team of his colleagues and our staff to help him to adjust and transition to what is the new work environment. Safety measures, different job functions, they were all challenges, and we needed to support him to adapt. 10% of our clients are now beginning to go back to work. Mike, who transitioned back to work a few weeks ago, needed to understand where to go to eat lunch, how to safely manage interacting with customers in the workplace, and he was initially fearful, but he overcame his anxiety. Placement into competitive employment continued throughout the pandemic. Employer outreach and networking continues to build relationships and new job opportunities. Skill building, goal setting, and job retention has been the key to our success during this challenging time. And in conclusion, funding challenges are still certainly part of our story. We're very thankful for grants and donations from a variety of donors. However, we're still experiencing significant losses because we're not able to bring our programs on site, and many of our residential clients are concerned about leaving their family home. But we're agile and adaptable as an organization. We've maintained our place in the community to continue to provide meaningful and necessary services to our clients. And we'll be moving forward with our new now to continue to be creative and flexible in meeting our clients' needs. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Audrey. Our final panelist of the day is Rabbi Zalman Grossbaum, CEO of the Friendship Circle. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you to everyone at the Jewish Community Foundation for giving us the opportunity to share a few words today. And thank you to the other panelists for their presentation and everything that they're doing. We're so fortunate to live in a community that cares so much and does so much. I'm joining you today from the replica of the Kotel here at Lifetown. As mentioned, on Tisha B'Av, we commemorate the destruction of the temple in Jerusalem. We are told that the temple was destroyed because of sinat chinam, unwarranted hatred, and it will be unwarranted love that will bring about the rebuilding of the temple. Our gathering today to discuss helping others is the best demonstration of this. Challenging times test the core and the strength of each person and entity. Since its inception 20 years ago, Friendship Circle has provided support for thousands of children and teens with special needs and their families, as well as meaningful volunteer opportunities more than 7,000 teenagers. We were in the midst of an unbelievable year of growth and activity with the opening of the Jerry Gottesman Lifetown Center last September. Lifetown is a 53,000 square foot center that is redefining the landscape for individuals with special needs. Lifetown's focal point is Lifetown Shops, a simulated main street that prepares participants with special needs for independent living. The story about Lifetown was being covered by every major news outlet around the world and was going viral. That is, until the world decided to go viral. From the moment that the world shut down, we knew that we needed to continue to be there for the children and the families. We made a commitment to them and to the community, and a little unseen bug was not going to get in the way. While we had to keep our social distance, we're not going to be socially distant. This is when the commitment to our mission statement of V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha, love your fellows yourself, was so vital. The circumstances might have totally changed, but it did not change the core of who we are and what we do. Friendship Circle immediately responded to the needs of the community by pivoting to virtual platforms and social distancing for the delivery of our programs. Our incredible staff and amazing team of volunteers have gone above and beyond during this challenging time. We spent the first week or so calling every single family and volunteer to see how they were doing and to find out how we could help. What do they want and need for us to do? And in response, our Torah Circle went Zoom, cooking in our programs. We delivered supplies to the home, and we continue to do so. Friends at home became virtual, and working together with the other friendship circles around the world, every single day of the week, we have numerous Zoom events for the families. As the weeks passed and the challenge of isolation for families who have children with special needs became more and more difficult, as the conditions allowed, our home visits were accompanied by police cars and fire trucks. Our carnival, from the comfort of their car, welcomed 550 people back to Lifetown. Our Shabbat party went global and was watched by over 100,000 people around the world. The impact of these programs was summed up best by our friend Julian. The parade was so good, he said, because it showed people that people care about me and that I'm not alone. We did all this even though our dinner, which is our major annual fundraiser, was canceled. We were quickly running up debt, but we were not going to stop helping the families. And we had stepped up for the general community as well. In the early days of the pandemic, we gave out over 16,000 masks to many organizations in the community. And our Zoom programs have been shared by other organizations as well. 1,300 Shabbat meals have been distributed to seniors and people living alone. A friend told us that she ordered a Shabbat package for her mother, and after it was delivered by a volunteer, her mother called her to say how special it was to receive a Shabbat dinner, such a delicious Shabbat dinner. As she listened to her mother, she could hear that she was not breathing well, and quickly went to her house and then quickly brought her to the hospital. She called us a few days later to thank us for saving her mother's life. As the summer drew closer, it became clear that things would not be getting better. Parents called us desperate for activities for their children, and we once again stepped up to create camp-like activities. Programs include a virtual camp, summer favorites like color war, sports, art, cooking, barbecues, night activities, and so much more. The special education world, in addition, is in crisis, as children with special needs have a much more difficult time with remote learning and meaningful virtual experiences. We are currently developing an immersive online educational platform, which will allow teachers and students to virtually visit the Lifetown shops and experience a range of learning and educational opportunities and experiences. Our initial rollout of this has received local and even international interest. When crises arise, everyone runs. Some run away and hide, while others run forward and make a difference. We've seen this firsthand over the last 4 months, with so many people stepping up to partner with us and make all this possible. There's so much more that we need to do and that we will do, and we are thankful for all the generous supporters who make these miracles a reality. thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Rabbi Grossbaum. I believe we are going to pull everyone back up for our question and answers. So while we're waiting for the screen share to shop, I will start the Q&A. And just as a reminder, if you have a question for any or all of our panelists, to please type it into the QA section down at the bottom of your screen. So my first question is for each of you. Could you share a quick and uplifting story about a client who benefited from your program during COVID? Raise your hand if you would like to go first. Linda, go ahead.
So the silver lining in this is that JSCD has always provided services to individuals who from time to time were homebound for a variety of reasons. They were in rehab or had surgery or for whatever reason, or they were ill. This has given us the opportunity to provide services to those individuals who could not access us in person. And we see this really as an opportunity to increase those services to those folks moving forward and into the future, beyond the pandemic, which we all hope is over soon. But we expect that this is a service that we will continue to provide. And this individual who was a Way Center client probably had not participated in over a year because he was homebound, is now participating not only in Way Center, Way to Connect classes several times a week, 3 or 4 days a week, but is now included regularly in our Shabbat experiences, which we've been able to expand as well, because everyone can participate in a Zoom Shabbat, and in our Sunday Chavurah adult Judaic learning classes. And so, and we expect that we'll be expanding that to the general public and sending out, doing additional intake for those folks. And we've been able to provide more virtual services to more people. And this individual in particular had really been missing the program and has now been able to participate once again.
Thank you, Linda. Anyone else want to share? Audrey?
Hi there. So we've also expanded our client base as a result of this. But one of the things that was really significant when we first began was because so many of our clients live independently in apartments, and there was this stay-at-home order. It was a lot of anxiety, depression, feeling isolated. And many of them were not used to technology. It was the face-to-face, it was the day programs, it was coming together as a group for parties and and Shabbat dinner and all of that. Now we had to figure out how to get them accepting and comfortable with technology. And I really thought that that was going to be an incredible challenge, but for some reason we made it work, and the staff worked with the clients to increase their technological abilities, which is why we're using a lot of platforms. Some find it easier than others. We were able to deliver Chromebooks to people that didn't have techno access. And that's all been a really wonderful thing, because isolation was really a very scary prospect for our clients. So that worked out really well.
Thank you, Audrey. And Rabbi Grossbaum, I see you had your hand up as well.
Thank you. One of the beautiful things was that a number of our former friends who have now moved on to homes outside the state and don't have access to any Judaic programming are now joining us for Zoom programs. We've had over 10 individuals who have joined us, and this is definitely something that we will continue. There's so many lessons that have been learned from this time, and so many positive opportunities that we will be continuing going forward.
And Beth?
I think the highlight for us has been the ability to provide a summer camp experience to our children that need that socialization and that programming the most right now. It has been incredibly rewarding to see the smiles on their faces and to have our parents happy to have a wonderful place to send their children where they can really engage with other people in a safe way. So that has definitely been something that we are really proud of.
Thank you. So we have a question from one of our participants. How has your reimbursement from government-funded sources changed, or perhaps not changed, because you cannot provide the same in-person services? Audrey, go ahead.
How much time do you have? The answer on reimbursement is we are getting less, of course, because for GESB in particular, our residential clients chose to go home and shelter with families. Some have not returned, and we're unable to, of course, bill for them because they're not on site. The other thing is that for our day programs and our arts programs and rec programs, we are only getting a portion of what it really costs us to provide these programs. So overall, all of the state funding has been reduced for us, and that's causing us significant hardship over the next several months, which will be a much longer time than we had anticipated. So
we've had a little bit different experience in that none of our residents left. So residentially, we've been able to be whole in terms of what we're able to bill for. Of course, our day hub program was the Way Center program. Those fees were cut. And it wasn't a sustainable program based upon the fees anyway. We're always going to need to supplement with fundraising for the Way Center because it's such a rich program and is expensive to run. But we, of course, we've had many increases in expenses between PPE expenses and overtime costs, and we've provided all of our employees who show up in our homes 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, staffing our homes with an additional bonus for coming to work. I mean, it was a scary thing, and we had to acknowledge that they were working under very difficult conditions and risking their own health and the health of their families. So that's been an additional expense for us as well. The governor did increase salaries for direct support professionals by $3 an hour temporarily. So from, I believe, Audrey, what was it, from May 1st, I think, until tomorrow, we're being reimbursed at $3 an hour more. Okay, so who's going to take that back now? Who's going to take that away? It's not going to be included in our reimbursement, but there's no way we can cut salaries now. So that's an additional expense that we're going to have to fund moving forward without being reimbursed for it by the government. So wouldn't you agree, Audrey? I don't know what you're thinking. Yeah.
Thank you. So one of the things that makes Greater Metro West so unique and such a wonderful community for all of our families who live here is that we really have some wonderful resources for families and individuals with special needs. The panelists you see before you are just a few of the agencies that offer these types of services, and Greater Metro West Able is unique in that it provides an opportunity for all of these agencies to come together and collaborate. So we have a question from one of our participants that says, how can we best share our programs amongst each other? And I had mentioned before, we all kind of had to pivot rather quickly to this virtual environment. And as we got a little bit more comfortable with the virtual, we began collaborating in this virtual environment as well. Rabbi Grossbaum, can I put you on the spot a little bit and can you talk about some of this collaboration?
First of all, when we were in the early, just weeks into the pandemic, when we were gifted with thousands of masks, the first phone call were to all the agencies.
Thank you.
And we distributed them. And then, look, it wasn't something, this was an opportunity that we had, and the first people that we thought about is our brothers and sisters, and to make sure that everybody is well protected. Here at Lifetown, at that point, we were just doing virtual programs while we distributed to our families to keep them safe. We had thousands more, and we knew that the ones literally that were in the war zones, so to speak, not knowing. We know a lot more now today, but then they didn't know. They were still there caring for their clients. That was so inspiring to us, and of course, we were thinking about that. And also, we do a lot of fun events, our art programs and our cooking programs, which we also make available to the other organizations. And we love having them participate. And that's really beautiful to see the community coming together at this time. We live in such a wonderful community, and it's showing its true colors and beautiful colors over the last 4 months.
Thank you all. I am being told that our time is up. Thank you all. I'm sure that there are a lot more questions. I want to encourage everybody, if you have any additional information that you need from any of our panelists or from Federation, please reach out to myself or to the staff at the Jewish Community Foundation. We'll be happy to put you in touch with the right people to answer your questions. And now I'm happy to call on Kim Hirsch, Executive Director of the Jewish Community Foundation, to wrap us up.
Thank you, Jess. I just first wanted to say thank you to these amazing panelists, to Audrey and Linda and Beth and Rabbi Grossbaum. I mean, it's heart-tugging to hear about, you know, the changes and the challenges that have happened because of COVID, but in the end, incredibly inspiring to hear how you and your amazing staffs and volunteers have adapted during this crisis. Really, we really, truly are a very, very special community. The Jewish Community Foundation is proud to be, an honor to be, you know, part of such a caring community. Our fund holders have responded with just incredible response to this crisis, more than $3 million and counting since March 1, directly in response to COVID. That's local, national, in Israel. The vast majority of those grants are for Jewish causes, including, of course, you know, these agencies and all Jewish agencies and our federation. You are being hosted today by our Center for Strategic Philanthropy, which is the arm of our JCF that really focuses on strategic giving and family philanthropy and multi-generational philanthropy. We engage and work with our fund holders in particular areas. We educate people. That's part of our mission. That's what we're doing today. And we do a lot of innovation. Just as I'm speaking, there's the survey in front of you, so please answer that. It'll take you about 2 seconds. So it really makes us a differentiator when people have their funds with our Jewish Community Foundation versus perhaps a commercial bank. We really know and understand our Jewish community and bring a lot of information out there about it. I want to invite you to our remaining webinars. August 13th is on mental health and August 27th is Israel and overseas. So we'd be delighted to welcome all of you and anyone you know to join those webinars. And thank you for joining today. Please take the survey and wish everybody good health and safety.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you to our panelists.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.